everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Redhead Boo here, back with a new video. So as I am wearing my Disney ears, today will be another Disney Week video and I'm wearing my Disneyland Paris sweatshirt because it's going to be a video relating to my Disneyland Paris trip that I got back from this month, February, and I know I've said it so many times, but I really did have the most magical trip ever. Like, it was so good and I am already planning to go back, so yeah. Today I am going to be doing my Disneyland Paris trip report because I had, as I just said, the best time, and I have 18 questions to answer about my trip, so bear with me. This video could be quite long, so grab a drink, grab a few snacks and get ready to hear all about my amazing trip. So yeah, first question: what hotel did you stay at and what was your favourite thing about where you stayed? So for this trip I stayed at my all-time favourite resort in Disneyland Paris. It is one of the hotels that I've always wanted to stay at. I've had so many trips cancelled from this hotel, and to finally get the chance to stay there was just amazing. Everything about the hotel was so magical, and I am talking about Newport Bay. Now, Newport Bay is the nautical themed hotel, and what I loved most about staying there were a few things that I loved. I thought the shop was really good. It had lots and lots of merchandise. It also sold like snacks and drinks, so if you wanted something for the room, it wasn't cheap, but then again it wasn't too expensive as in the park. So if you want like a bottle of pop for the day or something, then I would recommend going to the shop, because that's what I did. I loved the fact that it's very well themed, like the corridors and the rooms. It made me feel like I was back on the Disney Magic. So that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to book that hotel, because it gave me that what's the word? It made me reminisce and like remember the fun that I had on it. And like when I got the text about the room, they didn't call it a room, they called it a cabin, which I thought was really, really cool. But my favourite thing about staying in Newport Bay had to be the character meets on an evening. We only managed, well, I managed to do 2. We did stay 3 nights, but we missed the character who was there on the first night. Still don't know who it was. For all I know, it could have been Donald or it could have been Daisy. But the character meets in the hotel were so good. We met Minnie Mouse on night 2, I think. Yeah, night 2. Literally as we got back from character dinings, we'd literally just met her, and then we were meeting her again in her little sailor themed outfit, which was adorable, and she was so cute. And then on night 3, which was like our last evening in the park, I decided that I wanted to go and meet the character. Jade wasn't too bothered, so I just went on my own, and I wasn't like, I was happy to do that. I wasn't bothered that she wanted me to go on my own, because I've met characters on my own before, so it's not the end of the world. Like, I was happy to do it. And I met Goofy. He was really cute. Like, Goofy's just amazing. So yeah, highly recommend the character meets, and if you can, try and get there just before the character, because there was a long queue. So if you want to get a good photo and not wait too long, definitely turn up like 20 or 50 minutes before. 20 or 50? 20 or 15 minutes before the character. So yeah. Question number 2. Was your character dining experience everything you wished for? Anything you learned? Best tips for doing character dining? I loved our character dining experience. So when I booked the trip, I actually booked the character dining as an extra. So technically we didn't have to pay for the dining experience when we arrived and actually did it. So we literally just scanned our card. He was like, yep, that's all sorted. You can just go to your table, follow my colleague. So we went to our table and literally all of the characters were there. Like we walked past Mickey, we walked past Minnie, and it was just everything. Like, and because our table was literally next to the door where the characters leave to go for their break, and then like they come back through that door. So one thing I learned was, obviously you have to time when you want to go and get your food with where the characters are, because obviously you want to meet the characters but you also want to eat because that's what you've paid for. So I did it where when I saw the characters going for a break, they'd walk past our table, so you'd wave at them and then you'd go up and get your food, or if you had food on your plate you'd start eating. So that's how I learned to time what was best to do. And the characters are so good, and if there's a character you haven't seen, for example, for us we had seen, because they split between the room, so you have like 3 characters on one side, 3 on the other, and then they swap over. And we had seen, I think it was Pluto, Tigger, but we hadn't seen Goofy. And one of the waiters asked if there was a character we hadn't seen yet, and I said, oh, we haven't actually got to see Goofy yet. And the waiter actually managed to go and get Goofy and bring him over to our table and see us. But one of the funny memories that I had in this restaurant was with Goofy, because when we arrived I showed him my ears, because I had my Disney ears that were half Pluto, half Goofy, because I knew that those 2 characters would be there. So I put them on and basically showed them, and they were all like loving them. And Goofy, I think, remembered the ears, so remembered me, and came, I'm not joking, sprinting over to me, gave me the biggest hug I have ever had from Goofy, and he literally like spun me around in a circle, and it was the funniest interaction ever. And like, Goofy came back to us so many times just because we were so interactive with the characters, and just, yeah, everyone was just like so lovely. And Pluto came back because obviously I had my Pluto Spirit jersey on, and he was absolutely adorable, and I loved meeting Pluto and getting so many photos of him. I even got a photo of me and him being dogs, which I found very cute and very funny. Yeah, like Eeyore came back, he gave me a little hug in my chair. Like, so many characters just come back, so definitely go for it with characters, and have your autograph book ready to be signed. So yeah. Question number 3. What was your favourite food you tried? Okay, so I'm sort of going to do like top 3. So I'm going to say my favourite meal was either Pim Kitchen or Hakuna Matata. in Adventureland. Those chicken strips and fries were sensational, and it was very cheap, I thought. Pym's Kitchen was amazing. Like the theming, the drinks, the cherry coke, whatever Disney put in their cherry coke, it just tasted incredible. And the food, like the little mini hamburgers, the giant hamburger, the giant hot dogs, the desserts, everything in that restaurant was just incredible. So yeah. And then my favourite treat that I tried were the chocolate covered strawberries that I got outside the Ratatouille ride. They were really yummy. Question number 4. What were your 2 favourite rides you went on? Two favourite rides. I don't know, because I know I have my all-time favourite ride, but it's favourite rides from this trip. So yeah, I'm not gonna say Phantom Manor. Don't get me wrong, I loved Phantom Manor and that ride always has a special place in my heart. But I am going to say, just for how much fun I had on this ride and the laughter, the reactions, what happened with our friendship group on this ride, like it was so funny. I am gonna say Star Tours, which a lot of people might be surprised about, because the fact that before I had went on that ride, I'd never been on a simulator ride before, so I didn't really know what to expect. But obviously I knew like it would be Star Wars storylines, and I loved that. And the theming, the queue for Star Tours. If it is a long queue, I would suggest queuing, because the amount of animatronics, there's always stuff to look at. It's just really good. It's a really good queue and I do recommend it. And then I'm going to say my other favourite ride was, I'm going to say Ratatouille. I loved that ride so much. I knew I would, and I had always wanted to go on it. And day 2, when we were in, I think it was, yeah, because we got the strawberries after, it was day 2, and that ride is so amazing. Like the trackless aspect, the 3D, the theming, the soundtrack, like everything about Ratatouille is amazing, and I absolutely loved it. So yeah, big thumbs up for Ratatouille. Question number 5. Is there anything you didn't do on this trip that you would like to do in the future? I think do the heroic encounter, I think it's called, in Avengers Campus. Try do Stitch Live, because a lot of people say that's really good. And one thing that was slightly annoying that didn't happen, well, not annoying, but we got to see the Electrical Sky Parade, like nighttime spectacular, I think it's called, before Dreams. It was amazing, but because the weather wasn't great that day, it meant that the drones couldn't fly. So hopefully, if I get a chance to go back to Disney, fingers crossed, I will get to see the drones, because I watched it on YouTube when I got back with the drones and it looked amazing. So yeah, fingers crossed, one day that'll happen. Question number 6. What was your favourite character interaction? There were so many. There were honestly so many. interaction though. So does that mean meet and greet, or does that literally just mean an interaction? I'm gonna take that as interaction, and I am going to say my favourite character interaction actually happened literally in the first 10 minutes of us being in the park. So we'd just taken photos at the castle, and we were heading over to Adventureland to go on Pirates of the Caribbean as our first ride. And we walked past the Aladdin area, and there was people queuing, and who did we see walking towards the area but Jafar? Now, Jafar for me is in my top 3 Disney villains of all time. I love him, but I also find him quite intimidating. And I was like freaking out because he was literally walking towards us, and I was like, oh my god, it's Jafar, he is an absolute icon. And he saw me, stopped dead right in front of me, stared down at me, and was like, I'm watching you. And I was just like, what? I just didn't know how to react. Like, how do you react in that moment? Like, it's hard. So I was just like, okay, it was so funny and hilarious. And I just walked away and was like, did that just happen? And then seconds later, I got a high five off Baloo. So yeah, it was just in the moment. I didn't actually vlog it or film it, and looking back, I wish I would have done, because imagine how funny that would have been. But yeah, he was a great interaction and I found it hilarious. So I'm gonna say that's my favourite. So, question number 7. Name one thing you liked about each ride or attraction you went on. This is the bit that could get long because I've literally written down stuff about each ride that I went on. So, starting off with Pirates of the Caribbean. So, on this ride, I absolutely loved the drops and the theming of the ride itself, the queue system, the cast members' costumes, like everything about it. The fact that on the day I bounded as Donald, me and Jade went on it again, and we managed to get front row. We managed to take a great photo, and yeah, I loved it. And like, it's just a classic ride, you've got to do it. Phantom Manor, again, my all-time favourite Disney ride. And again, like Pirates of the Caribbean, it's just a classic, you have to do it. And what I love most about Phantom Manor is the story, the fact it all ties around with Frontierland, it's all connected. I love the Doom Buggies, I love the Grim Grinning Ghost song. I love everything about it. Like, Phantom Manor is everything. And the Phantom, of course, is so creepy. I love the fact that you can do what we did and you can meet Phantom Mickey outside, or Phantom Pluto, but we met Phantom Mickey and he was adorable. Spider-Man Web Adventure is just incredible. One of the best rides, I think, in my opinion. The 3D effects, like the fact that you actually feel like Spider-Man by shooting the webs and then like pulling the levers, making stuff happen. It's so clever. It's just competitive and it's just fun. Star Tours, my fave. And again, the theming of the ride and the theming of the queue area is just fantastic. And then one top tip, when going into hyperspace, lift your feet up. You literally feel like, I don't know, it's just fun. It literally feels like you're flying, and it's just great. Small World, gotta be done. Again, it's a classic. We did it on day one, and I just love Small World. And I just love the finale scene of Small World. And again, something I learned, look up. Don't just look at what's around you, look up, because there's stuff that you don't see. So the railroad train, yeah, we did this. It's such a fun way to see around the park. It's great to do first thing in the morning, as we learned, as in the morning, every morning during extra magic hours and when the park opens, Mickey and Minnie are on the top of the station waving to people as they enter, and they literally waved us off on the train, which I found very cute. Autopia, such a fun ride. Full of laughter, as I found out with my terrible driving. I am sorry, Jade. But definitely, again, another top tip, if you want a free souvenir, pick up one of the driver's licenses from Autopia, from one of the cast members. Philharmagique, this is just such a fun show, ride. I guess you do call it a ride, attraction. It's just perfect, especially if it's a wet day like it was the day we went on it, because the queue area is literally all undercover, and then you obviously go in and queue inside, and then it's literally inside for like 20 minutes, so you get to shelter from the rain. It's incredible. Buzz Lightyear Laser Blast. Also, about Philharmagique, actually, I forgot. It's perfect if you are a fan of Donald Duck, because literally throughout the whole show, Donald is like the staple character, and it's just so funny. And he has the classic line of, "Where's my hat?" And it's just funny. Yeah. And it's got great movement, and it's just lots of fun. Buzz Lightyear's Laser Blast, again, like I said about Spider-Man, very competitive ride. And also another top tip, if you are on the left and there is a target you want to hit on the right, use the joystick to spin the car so you can get a better aim of the target. That's what I did quite a few times. I did get quite dizzy. And try and sit on the left if you can, because that's where most of the targets are. Slinky Dog Zigzag Spin. Honestly, one of the funniest, most family-friendly rides I think I've ever been on. It brought out my laughter at full force, and you do end up sliding into your friend because it's just one lap bar and you just move about a lot, and it's funny. Ratatouille, my favourite ride in Studios Park. I absolutely adored the 3D, like I said. The fact you can actually smell the food that's cooking, it's insane. And trackless ride, also the soundtrack, you can't go wrong. It's just simply stunning. Toy Soldier Parachute Drop, a very fun ride. A bit of a top tip, if you are scared of heights, I wouldn't recommend this ride. You do go up quite high. The drops are so fun, and the theming again in the queue line is great. And also, if you want to see the expansions that are being built, try and get one of the seats that's close to that. We did, and honestly, we got to see so much of it being built, and it's amazing. The Cars road trip, again, it's another one to do, especially if the weather is a bit rubbish, because the queue's all undercover, and to be honest, you don't really queue that long for the ride. I think we waited like 5 minutes, and there's always a car coming anyway, so you get a good tip, you get like a good, you don't have to wait basically. And if you don't mind getting wet, do what I did and sit on the far left when you get into the car, and it's great if you're a vlogger like me. So yeah, the Aladdin walkthrough, the Aladdin passage. So again, another one to do. Great if the weather isn't perfect. It's themed well to Aladdin, so if you're a fan of Aladdin and the story, highly recommend. And great use of music throughout. So yeah, Dumbo the Flying Elephant. This is such a fun little ride, and again, it's just a classic. Like, it's a classic Disney ride. It's great theming, and you do get to see lots of incredible views of Fantasyland and of the castle as well as you go around. The fairy tale boat ride, again, another relaxing ride if you're tired and you just fancy a bit of a chill out. It includes the classic Cave of Wonders from Aladdin. You literally go into it and all the classic fairy tales, and it's just incredible. And then the last ride we did of the trip was Snow White. This ride, I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't my favourite. We just wanted a ride with a short queue and it had 10-minute wait, so we got on it quicker though because we were a party of 2, so we managed to hop on with someone else. It is quite a jolty ride, so be aware. It does move quite fast, so be ready if you want to take photos or videos. I loved the element of the ride with it being the story of Snow White, because obviously Snow White was the first ever Disney film, so yeah, it's just a nice little ride, but not my favourite. So yeah, take that into account. Question number 8. What was my favourite part of the main parade? I'm guessing this means about Stars on Parade. Stars on Parade, I have waited years to see it as a parade. I've been listening to the soundtrack non-stop ever since I knew I was going back to Disney, and I just loved the soundtrack. I love everything about it. The characters, the colours, the interactions you get. We had such a great spot both times, and I did get quite a few interactions. My favourite probably being from Daisy, that I managed to vlog, sort of. I did freak out a lot seeing Daisy because that was like the first time I saw her. My favourite part, I think, it's got to be the dragon, because that's just a classic. And I think I'm gonna say the whole thing. Like I said, I've always wanted to see that parade, and the fact that I saw it twice was just amazing. So yeah, loved it. Question number 9. What's a ride you didn't get to go on that you would love to go on for your next trip? I definitely think Peter Pan. Yeah, Peter Pan's flight we didn't go on, which I wish we did now, because I've always wanted to go on that ride and I love the story of Peter Pan. And of course, Big Thunder Mountain. When we went to the parks, it was under refurbishment, so we couldn't go on it. And I love that ride. It is so fun. So yeah, fingers crossed, if I go back to Disney and it's open, I get to go on it, because love Big Thunder Mountain so much. What are some of the characters that you didn't get to meet that you want to meet on the next trip? So for me, I'm gonna say Pinocchio, because I got an adorable interaction with him in Stars on Parade, which I did manage to vlog. Captain Hook, Piglet, and I think Jafar as well has got to be on the list. And maybe Baloo, because he looks like a really cool character to me, and I sort of want a Baloo hug. Okay, so yeah, they're like my top 5 characters. And Olaf, how can I forget Olaf? Like, he's so cute. So yeah, Olaf as well. Question number 11. What was your favourite piece of merchandise that you bought? Yeah, I know what my favourite piece of merch I bought. So when I bounded as Donald, I wanted to get a piece of merch that obviously had Donald in it to remind me of bounding as him. And I saw this in World of Disney, and then I bought him, I think he was in Harrington's, and he only cost me €19, which for a figurine this big, I was like, I have to have him, because obviously it was a reminder that I bounded as him, and yeah, so I had to buy him. But I will also leave a link to my haul in the description box, because obviously I have done a haul and you'll be able to see my merch. But the Spirit jersey that was in the wash has now been washed, so I will actually be able to show you it now. So I bought this Pixar Spirit jersey with all of the characters on the sleeves. I don't know how I can show that. Oh, actually, like that. And then on the back, if I can show it, it says Worlds of Pixar, and it's really comfy and it's really cute. So yeah, right. Sorry for how long this video is. Okay, question number 12. Opinion on the shows and the new parade. The shows at Disneyland Paris are some of the best shows I think I have ever seen in my whole life. Like, I know I've seen Dreams on the Magic, but I had never seen like a proper stage show. And we saw the Pixar show on I want to say it was day 2 of our trip, and that show was so adorable. It did make me tear up quite a bit, I'm not gonna lie. I got quite emotional, because Pixar for me, I have basically grown up watching the Pixar movies. Like, my first ever Disney film that I saw in cinema was Finding Nemo. I also saw Incredibles and all of them, and I loved them. So yeah, that like franchise will always be special to me. So the fact that I finally got to see a stage show dedicated to some of my all-time favourite Pixar characters was incredible. And the song at the end is so catchy. I have basically listened to it non-stop since I got back. The amount of characters that are in the show, you have Rex, Lotso, you have all the Toy Story gang, you've got Carl, Russell, Doug from Up, Mike Wazowski I have in the flesh, and to tell you how much I gasped when he came out, I was like, oh my god. Sully, Miguel from Coco, I think that's it. Oh no, there was a Finding Nemo one as well, so that was cute. But I was just blown away by the whole show. I thought it was incredible. The Lion King show in Frontierland in the small theatre near Cowboy Cookout was just adorable. Like the singers, the trapeze work, like the rope work and stuff, absolutely magical. I teared up. It's me, of course I did, but it was just so cute. What else? And of course, how can I forget Symphony of Colour? When I found out we were seeing this show on the day that we were leaving the park, I was just like in shock because I didn't expect to see it, and the fact that I did get to see it, and the amount of characters in that show, the music, the dancers, the colours, like it was just, I'm gonna say it now, it is my favourite show or parade I have ever seen. Just everything about it was just, it just put a massive smile on my face, and the fact that I got to see it on preview day just blows me away. I still can't believe it happened. And the fact that I got to see it at one of the stages, and then I saw it again, literally like one of the last things we did in the park, I got to see it for the second time, and I got the cutest interaction from Mickey as he was passing on the little float. It was just adorable, and I loved it as a show. And honestly, anyone who's going to Disneyland Paris, get a great spot for that show and just enjoy it, because it was amazing and you are in for a treat. Question number 13. What did you think to Walt Disney Studios Park since you've never visited before? I loved it. I did. I loved it. Obviously, I am not a massive fan of rides like Tower of Terror or Flight Force, because I don't like upside down roller coasters. So whenever my friends went on them, I hung around with Kian, or I'd go meet a character. But the only thing that I would say about Walt Disney Studios Park, there aren't a lot of characters in comparison to the main park, which I get because obviously the main park is for the characters mostly. But you can meet Woody, you can meet Jessie, which I did, and I had some of the best meets with them too. So yeah, just try and meet characters if you can. But just go see the shows, or go do a ride with a single rider queue like Slinky Dog or Parachute Drop or Ratatouille. Just have a walk around. Have a walk around Avengers Campus, because the amount of characters we saw just by walking around there were so many. So do it. Highly recommend. But yeah, I loved that park a lot. Sorry. Question number 14. My favourite character meet. And without a shadow of a doubt, it has got to be meeting Donald and Daisy and me in my Donald Bound. That meet was just like, when I had decided I wanted to bound as Donald again and that I wanted to try and meet him, I knew the interaction would be amazing. I didn't think it would be as funny as it was. Like, it was everything. sorry. And the fact that I had little Daisy with me, and Daisy just wanted to look after her and be her mother. And yeah, it was just so cute, and I have promised Daisy that I will look after her for her. So yeah, she's basically my adopted daughter now. But yeah, it was just so cute. I'll go into more detail in next week's video because yeah. Question number 15, we're nearly there. What's your free top I've done too much talking. What's your 3 top tips for a first timer at Disneyland Paris? Okay, so my 3 top tips are: number 3, plan your day. Like, if you're going for, like we did, 4 days, 3 nights, you can basically do everything. Basically, everything you want. If there's something you're not bothered about doing or you've done before, don't do it. Or if you're like mad about meeting characters or the shows, take one of those days and just do characters and shows and parades, because there's so much to do, so much to see. What else? Tip number 2, if you are staying at a Disney resort, use extra magic hours, because the queues were not that long, and we queued to meet Winnie the Pooh one morning in extra magic hours, and we must have waited like 15 minutes, not even that probably, and the size of the queue when the park opened was easily over an hour. So highly recommend if that's what you want to do. And my number 1 top tip, if you go into a restaurant that has mobile order, do it. Don't queue. Literally order the food on the app, pay on the app, then you have a specific area that you go to. You literally wait like a minute, probably not even that. So do it. And just wear comfy shoes, please. That's my top tip. You do so much walking and you do not want blisters, because that is a nightmare. Question number 16. Did the photo pass cost you anything, and how does it work? So, as another added on extra when we booked, I added on photo pass. Now, photo pass is what you use if you meet a character that has a photographer, or you go on a ride that has a photograph. So you have Big Thunder, Hyperspace Mountain, Flight Force, Buzz Lightyear, Pirates of the Caribbean. Is there another one? Tower of Terror. And I think that's it. And then there are like multiple characters around the resort that have photographers with them. So definitely, if you can buy it, buy it. I think it cost us around €60. In the parks, I think it's over 80. So if you can add it to your booking as an extra, definitely do it. I loved the photo pass. So question number 17, what did you like most about using the photo pass, and would you recommend it? I loved the most about the photo pass was photos didn't take long to come onto your account. It was so easy to set up an account, and as soon as you'd done that and linked your photo pass, it was just straightforward, easy. The photo quality is just incredible. Like, I have so many amazing photos. I will say this now, the ride photos are instant, the character photos can take a few hours, but most of the time they come on pretty instant as well. So yeah, highly recommend you use it. Yeah, and I definitely would recommend it. And final question, what were your top 3 highlights from your Disneyland Paris trip? Top 3 highlights. Okay, so I'll say meeting Donald in my Donald Bound, getting to be with all my friends, like the fact that I got to go to Disney with Paul and Alex, Emma and Kian and Jade, and we literally all just hung out the whole trip, and it was just so lovely. Like, we constantly were laughing, joking, and it just made the days so much more magical, and yeah, it was great. But I think my number 1 highlight has got to be the new parade and the new show. Like, honestly, like I said, it's the best thing I've ever seen in a Disney park, and I really hope one day I get to go back and see it again, because I loved that show so much. But yeah, that was my Disneyland Paris trip report. I apologise for how long this video is. I'm currently looking at the time like, what? But yeah, if you did enjoy, please do not forget, like, comment and subscribe. And I'll see you all very soon, because next week I will be filming my top 10 Disneyland Paris character meets video. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed, and this is Redhead Boo signing off. Bye!